I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
This one's wife. Another exodus. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. For those of you dealing with lesser and or mid-range narcissists, you will notice particular similarities with regard to the way that those unaware narcissists behave with other people. You will notice, for instance, that with friends, the friendship is all about what the narcissist can get out of the friendship, because that person is viewed as an appliance. And in some instances, the friendship is one whereby the friend doesn't hear from the narcissist for long periods of time and then only hears from the narcissist when they want something, or the relationship with that friend is fractious with repeated fallings out and makings up. You will notice that the narcissist may well have difficulty keeping in work, keeping a job, or if they manage to do so, that they have difficult relationships with people at work, sometimes falling out with them or being feared by them, that they are individuals that aren't liked and are only obeyed by virtue of a hierarchical standing that they have. With certain narcissists, they may have a haphazard approach with regard to money, not having any, being in debt, stealing, taking money from other people. It might be that they engage in grandiose displays of financial largesse. You will notice that they have lots of intimate partners, that their relationships of an intimate nature don't last for very long before they move on to another one, and then they go back to the original one, and then they go to another one. It might be the case that they repeatedly have affairs. What you will see is that with regard to those lesser and mid-range narcissists, although with mid-range narcissists it can be harder to detect because of the presence of a facade, that those individuals have peaks and troughs with regard to work, money, family relationships, friend relationships, and intimate relationships. And this is because the focus is always on control. So long as the individual is controlled and is providing fuel, it doesn't matter what the state of the relationship is. Thus, the focus of the narcissism is on the prime aims, which means with lesser and mid-range narcissists, everything else essentially goes to hell. So long as the prime aims are being consistently obtained, then friendships can come and go. Friendships can be good and bad. Friendships can be unpleasant and rewarding. Ditto intimate relationships and familial relationships. And we see this haphazard nature applicable to this one's wife, for as reported by Letis Bromovsky in the Daily Mail, this one's wife and Prince Harry have parted ways with 6 more members of their team as their PR machine undergoes another dramatic shake-up just weeks after enlisting the agency behind the Duchess's cringeworthy twerking video. The latest departures from Team Sussex include Kyle Boulier, their Los Angeles-based deputy press secretary, and Charlie Gibson, who had been serving as the couple's European communications director. Leanne Cashin, formerly head of operations at their Archwell Foundation, has also exited, just a month after a spokesperson described her as exceptional and said she embodied the strength and vision of the Duke and Duchess. I'm not sure that's necessarily a compliment, is it? They're not alone. Disha Tank, Archwell's director of communications, a personal assistant, and this one's wife's social media manager, really does she have one, have all reportedly gone too. The mass exodus comes in the wake of Prince Harry's eyebrow-raising BBC interview, where he launched a fresh attack on his father King Charles and complained of an establishment stitch-up after losing his legal battle over taxpayer-funded police protection in the United Kingdom. Accordingly, individuals have departed. Insiders claim the writing was already on the wall for some team members following January's damning Vanity Fair expose, which alleged that several staffers were left needing long-term therapy or took extended breaks after working with this one's wife. Prince Harry was painted as a lonely figure who has failed to make friends across the pond. Something tells me there will be another change in the future, says a source familiar with the couple's approach. This one's wife and Harry have hired some of the most incredible people at the top of their fields, yet somehow none of them ever work out. According to Deadline, since stepping back from royal duties, at least 22 people have left their team, with 6 in the last 2 months. The social media manager is said to have departed before this one's wife released her now infamous twerking video, which showed the royal couple dancing in a hospital delivery room while awaiting the birth of their daughter, Princess Lilibet. The couple have since hired Method Communications, a slick US-based PR firm, in an effort to revamp their public image. Polishing a turd, of course, springs to mind, a move widely seen as a sign they were unhappy with their previous media strategy. Joining their rapidly expanding comms empire is Emily Robinson, a former Netflix publicity director who worked on hit shows like The Crown. This one's wife has also brought on Sarah Fosmo, who previously worked for Bill Gates as her first chief of staff, while Harry has promoted long-time aide Miranda Barbett to the same role on his side. Overseeing the overhaul is Meredith Maines, appointed in February as the couple's first ever chief communications officer. It all, of course, smacks of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, and it's unsurprising to find that this one's wife has lost staff members once again. This is as a consequence of the need for the prime aims, so that relationships with those that she works with basically become peaked and troughed. They are tempestuous, because so long as she gets control, it doesn't matter how she treats them. Sometimes she'll buy them gifts, other times she'll bully them. Because that's not where she's consistent. She is consistent in the need for control. And the consequence of it is that you will find lesser and mid-range narcissists such as this one's wife regularly hemorrhage staff because her necessity of control and fuel means she will lash out at people. She will devalue them. She will insult them. She will micromanage them. She will belittle them. She will invalidate them. She will assign them work that is beneath them or not associated with what they should be doing. She will shout at them. She will be argumentative. She will not listen to advice. All of those are traits and behaviours which are regularly associated with narcissists. Some are better at hiding them from the public than others. But we know as a consequence of my work and the understanding that I bring into the world of narcissism, that behind the scenes, this is the way that this one's wife will function. This is the way that she will behave. And therefore, it's no surprise at all to learn that people simply get fed up of working for her, or they're removed because if they don't do what she wants, or they're not achieving the improbable and unobtainable aims that she requires, then they are deemed to have failed. And that means they threaten her need for control. And therefore, she gets rid of them by nullifying that threat to control by dismissing them. More usually, it appears that people are leaving because they've had enough of the way that she conducts herself, recognizing that you can put a lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, and no matter how much you polish that turd, it's still a turd. She's always going to be able to recruit somebody because there's always somebody who's daft enough and needs the money who believes that they could somehow improve the image of this one's wife, that the other people weren't equal to the task, and they are. So she's never going to run short, so long as she has money, to be able to employ people. There's always going to be some clown that'll come along and find out, actually, I should never have done this. But what we will continue to witness is the repeated turnover of staff because of the behaviour of this one's wife, her ridiculous demands, and the way that she interacts with people because of the pursuit of the prime aims means she is always going to have contentious relationships with people, and ultimately they will have enough and decide to depart. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.